Hello, Girl Scout Comic Con 2021. I am Johnie 5, and I'm here with my good friend Benjamin Banks from Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, Who's That Cosplayer. You can find me on Instagram at Johnie 5 and Benjamin at KingBenji_Banks. And with us today is Sulky Siren. How are you doing today, Grace?
I'm doing great. I'm in the air conditioning. I'm living my best life.
Nice.
I have had recent Miracle Grow, and everything is going well.
Yeah, I was going to say the air conditioning for plant life. I suppose it depends on what plant life we're talking. You know, it's a yay nay on the AC for plants.
Part chlorophyll. Make it work.
All right. As long as you got enough light.
I'm sorry.
As long as you've got enough light over there too.
As long as I have enough light, right?
Yeah, I just became a plant father myself. I'm growing my first plant, and he is growing pretty well. And every time that I see him, he's getting bigger. And you know, I'm just enjoying it. I can't wait to get my next plant. And you know, I hope that I'm doing Miss Poison Ivy, Sulky Siren proud.
Any plant life is good life, I'll say.
I love it. So, Johnie, do you want to go and ask the first question, or do you want Moal to do it?
Well, so what I was going to say is, you know, before we jump into the serious cosplay questions again, and I'll let you have the first go on that one again. I got to ask Grace the serious question up front. We got to get this one out of the way with, and that is, what is your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Oh, God. All right, that's going to have to be a tie. It's going to be between Samoa's, which I deeply and truly love, and Thin Mints that have been in the freezer for at least an hour.
All right, very specific on that. At least an hour.
At least an hour.
I like that. The colder, the better.
Oh,
that's
man.
So the first question that I have for you is, every hero or villain, they have an origin story. So tell everybody that's watching right now, who is the Sulky Siren?
So Sulky Siren is me. I moved out here to North Carolina. I don't know where everybody's watching from, but I moved here from Missouri, where there's a little bit of cosplay culture going on, but not a lot of conventions. I had just gotten started kind of poking my nose into cons and playing dress up, as one would say. And then I came out here and I ended up meeting some really, really fantastic cosplayers. And getting to just really get immersed in the cosplay community, and kind of just jump in head first. And since then, it's been an absolute ball. Not only have I gotten to have a really fantastic time meeting other people in the cosplay community, I've also just so happened to end up working at a comic book store.
Nice.
And also helping with the cosplay function of some of our conventions that we run, which is really, really, really amazing. Obviously, dream job. But yeah, I mean, I honestly couldn't ask for more.
Nice. Now, to piggyback off of what you just said, you work at a comic book store. If you had to recommend one comic for somebody to pick up, first-time reader, what would you recommend?
Oh, man. I want to say All New Wolverine by Tom Taylor. It's specifically focused around Laura, who is X-23, Wolverine's daughter. Mm-hmm. It's just got every element of a great comic, and so much heart too. And Tom Taylor, I'm just a mega fan for him. Everything he writes, it's just, you just want to take his characters, you want to put them on your couch, you give them a blanket, it's cocoa, just tell them to stay there. Nothing bad will ever happen to them again.
Give them some Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, give him some Girl Scout cookies, get him settled in. Yeah, he writes just, you love his characters in a matter of pages, and it is a remarkable talent as an author to do that.
Awesome. Johnie?
All right, so taking a step back towards, you know, where your origin story is and like where you kind of transitioned into or started stepping into the cosplay hobby. Was there a specific catalyst or was there a specific interest that really caught your attention that got you to take those first steps into the cosplay hobby?
I mean, technically, really what got me pushed into it was originally I was working with a charity program in Missouri called Heroes for Kids, which was essentially a program where cosplayers would team up with first responders and help kind of create an environment between essentially characters and heroes to allow kids to feel more familiar with first responders, which is a really cool thing. But essentially that was like okay, well, we need a DC character now. And I'm like, okay, we're doing a DC character. And it was definitely like, it just kind of forced me to kind of get into it. And then once I got in there, it just kind of skyrocketed up. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it sounds pretty awesome. And one of the things that I kind of want to piggyback off of that is one of the general sentiments that we seem to get from the interviews that we've done is that the cosplay community has like a number of opportunities, and or like, you know, when somebody kind of ventures into the cosplay hobby, it seems like the community is a pretty big part of that hobby, and like, you know, the way that the community kind of interacts or helps each other, or that, you know, there just seems to be community, which is a really cool kind of thing to see in a hobby like that. So it's really cool to hear, you know, from your perspective that there was a volunteer community that involved first responders and stuff like that. Just, you know, really cool to hear that sort of thing. So now that you're big time, you're a professional cosplayer, what would you say that your favorite part of the hobby is?
Oh man, that's hard. You know, there's a certain kind of magic to just getting absorbed into whatever you're doing. Where it's like you look down and you're making something, and then suddenly it's 8 hours later and you haven't slept or eaten or gotten up. There's a certain magic to that, and then there's an extra amazing moment when you've just finished like all this hard work on something, and you walk like your first 2 steps onto the convention floor, and like the moment of reaction in that moment is just, I mean, it's incredibly rewarding, and it's very, I guess, both rewarding and just awesome to see people's reactions to all the hard work you put into something.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that, because it's like, you know, when you wear a costume and you go out there on the convention floor, it's like you're that character. Something I always like to say is when you're cosplaying as one of your favorite characters, it's kind of in a way you're becoming an actor, because you're doing their mannerisms, the way that they speak, the way that they walk. So I want to ask you to piggyback off of the convention stuff that you had just mentioned. What has been one of your favorite convention moments at a con?
Oh man. Well, I mean, obviously, one, I actually met Johnie, or Johnny 5, at Animazement after just deciding to go by myself, and then ended up meeting an amazing group of cosplayers that are still kind of my con crew to this day. There's that, and then there's also whenever I was working with Heroes for Kids, we had this young kid who was essentially just like one of the kids, the first responders, and he would always do like a Joker cosplay or just like goofy little stuff. And at a certain point, he decided that Ivy was like one of his favorite characters and wanted to take pictures with me all the time. And I don't know, it was just really, really cute. And kind of gave me a heartwarming moment. And it's actually, I don't know if I'll be able to find it to show you guys, but there's actually it was my Facebook profile picture for like 3 months, where like he had gone to the side and Ivy's just leaning over and doing like a Tinkerbell fairy kiss on top of his head. It's just That's
awesome.
My favorite Joker cosplayer. But yeah,
that's awesome.
A lot of fun. It's cool, especially with kids, where it's like, you know, it's cool to us, but like with kids, it's real, essentially.
Exactly.
Like, there's a certain level of wonder, and just they're completely convinced half the time, and it's really cool to see that. But yeah.
Johnny?
All right. Well, before we wrap this up, just on a final question here, I'm going to ask you, for some of the Girl Scouts that are out there watching the interviews, or for anybody who is kind of thinking about taking that first step into the cosplay hobby, you know, building their first stuff, going to their first con, you know, anything that's kind of related to that, like, is there any piece of advice that you would give them that maybe either like is something that you just kind of always stuck to, or maybe it's something that you learned along the way that you'd want to share with them?
Yeah, absolutely. one, I fully recommend whenever you're making your first cosplay, just make it a character that you're just really passionate about. Do a character that you love, because at that point, no matter what, you're always going to have that as a thing that's going to be like your fallback. You can do a million other characters, whatever. But if your first cosplay is a character that you like, capital L, love, people are going to feel that. And it'll change the way people react to you, and they will, a lot of times they'll see how passionate you are about it, and that just makes your costume 10 million times better. And also bring super glue with you everywhere.
Those are absolutely words to live by.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, for everybody watching the interviews, I am Johnie5. You can find me at Johnie_5 on Instagram. You can find Benjamin at KingBenji_Banks. And you can find our lovely Grace Sulky Siren at Sulky Siren on Instagram. Thanks a bunch, guys.